Hello, and welcome to Middle School Against Coronavirus.
That is Isabella, and I am Laura. Thank you so much for listening today. Week 3 of our podcast, talking about what it's like being a middle schooler and what it's like for the parents as well with this social distancing, quarantine, whatever you want to call it, basically being stuck home with the family.
Yep.
That sounded really enthusiastic.
It's getting dull.
It's getting dull. Yeah, I could tell in the last week or so it's been tougher on you. Can you describe a little bit more those feelings?
Well, it's sort of, the teachers are doing work that we do from home, and it's a little bit like sub work. I do feel a sense of normal schoolwork, but I also feel the sense of sub work, like if the teacher's out and you have a sub. And then also, I don't get to have any fun, don't get to see my friends or my teachers that much, so...
And you really like school. I actually overheard one of the recordings that your math teacher did. I heard her talking in the recording, and she sounded like she's a lot of fun to listen to in math class. So I could definitely see why you missed that, because you love math.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, her name is Mrs. Kennedy. Hello.
Mm-hmm. Shout out.
Shout out to all of the teachers. I know we're focused on middle school, but basically all of the teachers who are teaching remotely, because we know this isn't easy. And with the emotions that the kids are going through at home, we're especially concerned for them. In middle school, you have all these hormones raging, changing feelings, and we want to take really good care of their mental health. And because I could see you being really down in the last week, I thought, let's do some social distancing fun. We did that yesterday, and it brought a new light to you, which was really nice to see, Isabella.
Thank you. It was fun. It was first going to be a supposedly short silly string fight with just 3 cans, 1 can each. And then we come over and we see they have a big pack of silly string. So we had a long silly string fight, used most of the silly string. And then the girl, her name is Farron, who we went to play with, and her brother Xavier had the idea and told her mom, who shared it with us, of using a colored powder, cornstarch powder, because they did a color run for Farron's birthday a few years back, and they still had some left over. So Xavier didn't want to join in on that, but Farron and I had a color off, and so we threw color on each other, went real crazy. We were both completely covered.
And you got hosed off outside.
Yep.
So the way we did this to stay safe as possible, social distancing, is, like she said, it was intended to just be a kind of a drive-by silly string fight. And the reason for that is because silly string, if it's a good can, it shoots pretty far. So I sanitized all the cans before we got there. And then their mom sanitized all of the cans. And we did it outside. We told the kids, keep your distance, keep your distance, keep your distance. I'm sure they got sick of hearing that. So they kept their distance, but they laughed and they had fun. And then with the color, that was a bonus. And it was hysterical. Color run, we have to do that for your next birthday party. It was so much fun. It was all outside. It was a windy day, so it was blowing all the germs and the color and everything else away. And it was a really neat outlet for them. And like I said, she got hosed down outside. I had stuff to cover the seats in the car, and then we went home.
And we had an added bonus. It wasn't the best bonus, but it was a bonus.
I wouldn't call that a bonus. I would call it a curiosity and a tragedy. Okay, so while Isabella was waiting for me to get her with the car, she noticed, and I don't know when this happened, she noticed that I somehow got a cardinal, and I love cardinals. It was a gorgeous red cardinal stuck in the grill of my car, nearly decapitated with a grub still in its beak. I feel terrible. And she's laughing. Thank you for that. Well, while we were there, smartphones are so great because you can record some really good audio with them. So from a distance, I asked Xavier, who's also in 7th grade with Isabella, one of her friends, and his mom about this situation, what it's been like. When it came to talking about I called it the quarantine, social distancing quarantine, basically we're all told to stay home. So I asked him what his thoughts were on that.
Well, to be honest, I think quarantine is sort of self-explanatory. It's not very fun. It's, of course, quite boring, especially combined with schoolwork in the moment and that we're doing it from a distance. It's not very fun, and I can't meet with anyone nor go anywhere. Or if I do go places, I have to use adequate protection, which at first was awkward because, flu masks, this isn't like Japan, so it's not very common to see people just walking around with a flu mask. But it got more and more common, and of course we started wearing them now. So in general, quarantine is quite boring, and I don't really like it that much. But in terms of what I would like to say to other people, yeah, it's very boring, but it is definitely for the better that we all try our very best to keep a social distance. Even if it can get very tedious at times, you want to talk to people, you want to converse, it gets boring and kind of sad. But it is best to be safer than sorry. And eventually I do believe that we can beat this together in the next coming months.
Yeah, sadly that's true.
I know, but it will come to an end to where things can start to get back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had asked Xavier what he was doing to pass the time. And that's also in light of what we found out just after the last podcast with Middle School Against Coronavirus. I'm Laura. This is Isabella. And what we found out right after that podcast is school was canceled in Georgia for the rest of the year. And that's happening in a lot of places. And it was a bit of a shock to the kids. They kind of expected it, but they also wanted to be able to go back. So I asked Xavier about that as well. And here he's talking about what he is doing during this extended time at home.
Well, mostly I do schoolwork, but then when I don't, I play on my drum kit, which is another thing, which of course you can't do all of the time. So most of the times I just do alternative things, such as listen to music or just draw occasionally.
Ooh, you're a great drummer.
Mm-hmm.
What are your favorite music bands, things like that?
Well, there's one in particular that I love a lot that a lot of people haven't heard of. It's called The Laws, and they made an album back in the 90s. It was called self-titled, and they wrote a bunch of wonderful tracks that I love to listen to all of the time. And, well, I enjoy their music a stunning amount, and I really wish people got into them a lot more.
Any messages for your teachers?
I'm really sorry I never really got to properly say goodbye. When you leave the school year, at the very end of the school year, there's almost always this special ceremony that happens. Like, everyone's super happy and giddy. Everyone's racing out the doors. There's no ceremony or symbolic goodbyes. It's just... The day we left was a band trip day, and when we were leaving, I remember reading a book, and then the school bells went off, and that was like, oh, yay, we get to go now to band class so we could leave. And I remember waving goodbye to Miss Probst, and she said, see you after spring break. And I said, yep, see you later. I didn't know spring break was going to be 6 months long.
Yeah. Is there anything that you left in your locker that you would like to retrieve?
Actually, I'm pretty, I think, on point in terms of what I left in my locker. I never leave anything, and I take everything home with me all of the time. And I'm lucky in that I cleared out my locker and took everything home I think the week or two before we left. However, my trumpet is still at school. Yes, and but I don't like trumpet anyway. So.
Yeah, you're a drummer.
Yeah.
A good drummer, too.
So... It's especially a bummer because the trumpet belongs to Portman, but they're closed right now. So.
Oh, no, so you're paying on a trumpet you can't even play.
Well, yeah, basically. Aww. For the moment, yeah.
Thank you, Xavier.
Well, thank you, too.
Stay well.
Well, I'll try.
Well, wonder if he's going to get transferred to a different instrument.
Maybe this will be a push, because he's very good at drums.
Yes, he has a drum set. He had it out during St. Patrick's Day at the St. Patrick's Day Golf Cart Parade, which they thankfully still had. And Xavier was playing the drums during the parade, and one guy actually got off the vehicle, gave him money, and then ran back.
He gave him a tip.
Yeah.
That was great. I really appreciate his mom, Jen, letting you all play out in the yard and make a big mess of it with silly string and with the color from the color run. And I asked her what it's been like for her with this situation because she has two kids. I have one. It's harder on Isabella because she doesn't have a playmate. She has a cat. It's easier as a parent, I think, to manage one child going through this. And so I asked her about being a mom of two, a working mom of two.
Well, I am very, very fortunate that I've been able to work from home for the most part, which is a tremendous gift. And I know I'm luckier than an awful lot of people. My husband is furloughed, but he is also a retired Army. So we are better off than a lot of people, and we are grateful for that. It's been a little bit stressful, especially where we are. We don't have great internet connections. So with me trying to work and the kids trying to do schoolwork simultaneously, it doesn't always work out so hot. So we do have to stagger who's going to be on the computer and work in shifts. But in general, I'm grateful to be able to spend time home with the kids because this is something I miss a lot of. And grateful that we've had nice weather for most part.
Yes, that's been wonderful. And it's been fun playing different family games and just being around each other more too.
It's been great to be able to be more active and bike and, do that kind of stuff. And because I'm not commuting over an hour each way to work every day, I'm able to use that time to get out and ride a bike or, do something else, which is very good. And my daughter had a birthday while this happened. And I know that was kind of a little bit of a bummer for her that she couldn't see her friends and hang out. But, it was still nice to be able to spend the whole day together.
Happy birthday, Farron! And then I also talked with Jen about her thoughts for other parents and teachers going through this situation, because I think it helps that we share this with each other.
We're all struggling. We're all in this together. And, it's a strange feeling because every day it can be, especially where we live in such a rural area, sometimes you feel so isolated. You feel like you're the only ones going through all this. And I think we do have to always stop and remember everybody's going through this together and we're all struggling a little bit, and just stay positive. And, I encourage the parents to do what we do, which is reach out to other parents, do a safe social distance type of activity that you can do, maybe bike riding if you can, or, something else, or even online activities if you can, just so we maybe don't feel quite so isolated all the time.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's definitely a lot challenging on certain kids like Xavier and his family is the internet connection, because so much work is done internet wide, and Xavier's work along with his mom's work is mainly going through the internet, but you're going to receive all your assignments through the internet because of self-isolation. So internet can be really, really hard. They have to take turns. Xavier even has to stay up around midnight to do his work.
And his mom gets up at 7 a.m. to do hers before the kids start doing their schoolwork.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that we do have very good internet so that I can do my work as a voiceover artist. We're doing this podcast, Middle School Against Coronavirus, in my personal pro studio. And Isabella can do her schoolwork at the same time. So I'm very grateful that we have the good internet. And because of that, and because, like I said, I've been trying to make this as easy on Isabella as possible, I found something, and actually I found it through ads that kept popping up on my Facebook page. And I said, let me check this out. Isabella loves Harry Potter. She's read all the books, seen all the movies, can tell you anything you want to know about Harry Potter. Almost anything. So I saw these ads for these classes, these Harry Potter classes, and it's from a place called OutSchool. It's online. You can do anything from a one-time class to they have classes that may go on for several weeks. The one-time class, one that she's doing this week, it's a trivia class, is just $6. The one she did Monday night was just $7. And then she's doing a 2-week Harry Potter debate class that's $25. So that's still all very reasonable. And it gives her something different to just keep her from getting too down from all this that's going on. So Isabella, tell us about some of those classes that you've done so far.
It's fun. I get to see other kids, even if I don't know them. Most of them come from different parts of the world or different parts of the country. And you basically kind of get to express your opinion, get to learn something new. You get to do something that's fun, but also educational. Unlike the schoolwork we're getting assigned, it's our schoolwork. It can kind of be fun, but it's also very dull because it's just, it's sub work, and sub work's never fun unless it's like a project or something with supervision, but we can be really assigned that because we're stuck at home.
Because these are Harry Potter themed, even though it's educational, it's fun because you love Harry Potter, especially the debate one, because you and Xavier actually had wanted a debate club in school and it just wasn't able to happen. So this is an intro to debate for you.
Mm-hmm. So what we're focusing on is debating on who is the best Harry Potter Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. You can put your personal comments down below. You can do it based off of what you think is best. You can choose who's best. You could make an argument for most people, probably all of them. It might not be the best, but it would be an argument. So maybe even if you don't think that's the best defense against the dark arts person, you could try and figure out an argument and write in the comments.
Is that one of the things that you learned in the class?
Yeah, just dig around what you have and find evidence to make sure that the person's guilty or not guilty, or best or not best.
And then the other class that you took on Monday night was a Harry Potter diction class.
Explosive diction, because of plosives, which are certain letters that change up your speaking, like P's, T's, words that kind of cut off your word a little bit. So it worked on separating each word into its own word, but keeping the word together, kind of making a sentence while still separating the words.
I'm really glad I found this, and I want to thank OutSchool for providing these interesting classes. They have also classes of other themes, so it's not all Harry Potter, lots of different themes. So if you're not a Harry Potter fan, that's okay. They'll still have something you're interested in. They have writing classes, you name it, they've got it, even painting, which she'll do the painting in a few weeks. We've also been keeping busy with a Christmas present that you got to use with stuff that we've done over the past several years. It's been a lot of fun. If you're not hurt too bad financially, it's something that you could also do at home to keep the kids busy.
So I got a rock tumbler. What you do is you get certain gemstones like amethyst, quartz, those type of rocks. You could go on Amazon or anywhere, look up gemstones or rocks, and you might find one with a bag where it's just a bag of sand with rocks in it that you can sift through and find rocks. So you get that discovery aspect, and you can also tumble them so they're more rounded, not as rough, and they look prettier.
It's been a lot of fun because there's so much anticipation with it. The rock tumblers, they have them under $100. They might even have some under $50. We're doing a lot more online ordering instead of going to the store and buying things. So you can order it online. And as Isabella mentioned, you can order these unpolished gemstones. We found some on eBay as well. And you tumble them. It takes several weeks for the process. You have to order some of the
grit, polish, pre-polish. Normally there are 4 stages, one about each week. You can get a pack that provides the grit. If you get a 2-barrel rock tumbler and you have a big package, you might want to split it in half and then pour the grit into the 2 different containers. But if you do get a 2-barrel one, you want to tumble them together, not separate, because they depend kind of on each other, holding it in place and spinning to help the tumbling.
It's fascinating, especially the first time you go through the process, to see how it changes each week. The grit is what grinds down the stone to make it smooth. And she mentioned the polish, and that's what helps make it shinier. I've learned a lot online on rock tumbling sites, different tips and tricks. So if you have the money, ordering the bags of sand, like Isabella mentioned, or the dirt with the gemstones in them is fun for the kids. It's like a treasure hunt. But you can even just order the gemstones that aren't in the sand and all of that, and it's not very expensive. And it will keep them busy over this extended period of staying at home. You can make jewelry from it when you're done. You can make different things with the gemstones when you're done.
Now it's craft time!
Yes.
All right, so these 2 crafts are straw-related.
Did you say straw-related?
Yes.
Okay. Do you stick them out of your nose?
No. So the first craft, you take a straw and a pencil sharpener, and you twist the straw in a pencil sharpener like you're sharpening a pencil, but keep on going till it kind of gets to the end. And then you have this swirled straw that you can put around your wrist and kind of clip together with the straw that's been twisted, and you have a little cute bracelet.
Ooh.
You could use straw and a string of lights, preferably white lights, but you could use colored lights too. So what you do is you cut the straw about maybe a little bit longer than the actual light that's hanging off of the string. You put it on there to where it fits, and when you turn it on, you have a different colored light than white or whatever color it was.
Oh, because whatever the color the straw is, it blends with the light that's tucked inside of it.
Yeah, the light will shine through the straw, giving off the straw's color.
How neat. And most people probably have straws, even if you dig in the side pockets of your car to get the straws that you were given at this drive-thru that you didn't use.
Yep.
Well, that's a lot of fun. Thank you. Well, this is Middle School Against Coronavirus. I'm Laura, and we have Isabella, who's in 7th grade. Isabella, as we head towards spring break, which Xavier mentioned spring break, and he was actually talking about a 5-day weekend that we had around St. Patrick's Day because that's huge in this part of Georgia. But actual spring break was scheduled for next week. And several school districts around here are still doing spring break instead of skipping it and ending school a week early because school ends in May anyway. What are your thoughts on that, Isabella?
I think it's nice that they're still going to give us spring break, and I really don't think they should change these schools' overall schedule of breaks because they give us breaks not just for the holidays, but also because other than weekends, we need a break from school to relax. Like a full day or a full week or whatever. Not just a weekend, because you might even have homework on the weekend, but a full break. So I like that we have a spring break because that also gives me a break at home. Even though we're self-quarantined, we still have schoolwork. So I like the idea of spring break where I can just relax and not have to worry about an alarm going off.
Have you thought about what you'll be doing here stuck at home during spring break?
Probably video games.
She found Monopoly online on the Xbox, and it's pretty cool.
It was for sale, too. It was under $5.
Neato. Thank you, Isabella, so much for sharing your friends and your own thoughts and your friend's mom as well as we continue through this trying and unique time in American history. It is Middle School Against Coronavirus.
Au revoir.